The Norinco 1911A1 Enhanced. The Norinco that Americans are jealous of because they have retarded importation laws. So this is the 1911 here. This is from Norinco. This is known as, oh Jesus, the friggin' Facebook notification. Always friggin' up these videos, I'm telling you, man. Anyway, this is currently known from the model name from the SFRC, which is a firearm or gun store in Ontario, as the M1911A1 Enhanced, which comes with fiber optic front sight, whatever kind of sights you would call that in the back, extended beaver tail, skeletonized trigger and hammer, and extended side stop. This is actually a very, very good 1911 for the money. I think I paid about $419 for this, even with shipping and taxes. And you're probably like down shaming here on Norinco, saying, oh, they're terrible, you shouldn't own them. They're actually a really good firearm. Like I said, for the money. They're really rough when you get them in the package. They are covered in this like terrible like packing oil and everything. But once you clean it off, spend time with a file or polishing compound or rubbing compound and clean off all the hard edges and sharp stuff, it's a very pleasant firearm. It's actually really quite accurate. I haven't sighted this in yet, but just randomly shooting at targets at the local gun range, from what me and Beaners Gaming and a bunch of other friends have been shooting, it's actually a really awesome firearm. It has only malfunctioned once out of the 300 rounds that I've shot through it. That's pretty good for Norinco, and that was still when it had to still break in. It's still not really broken in yet. But I polished up the feed ramps and everything. Like I said, it's a good firearm if you take the time to prep it to get it working perfectly. Also, it had an extended magazine release, which is just a thread-in button. I took that off because it made it look ugly. There's no magazine in it. It's unloaded. There's actually a good reason why I don't have magazines for it. I either lost them or threw them out. If you get this Norinco, get yourself some good magazines. Trust me, you'll understand why. Because those magazines are next to impossible to load. They're so frustrating, and they probably solved about 90% of the feeding problems that I did have with this gun. I know I said I only had one major problem. I wouldn't really call a feeding problem for a magazine major. I'd call it more minor. But for major, it was basically just, it almost wanted to double feed. That's pretty much it. I just had to take the slide off and clear it out. No big deal. It's a good gun. This extended grip safety was really, really mushy. I had to bend the spring on the back grip here. That's all good. Before, you used to be able to just kind of go like this and it would set it off. So stuff like that, you know. The side picture is really awesome. Way better than the Tokarev. Extremely way better. It says made in China and it has the Norinco branding logo on it and all that, but if you really wanted to take your time to get rid of it, go ahead. I'm not going to care. This firearm's only about $419. I really don't care if it has made in China wrote on it. It looks good. I'm definitely getting better grips. I do not like these rubber grips. They're terrible. I mean, they look nice, but yeah, I'd like to settle for wood grips. Wood grips would look good on a black gun. I've never owned a 1911 before I owned this. Way different than Tokarev. The side spring is way heavier. It's just things you have to get accustomed to if you've never owned a 45, or I guess a 1911 in this case. And if you really did want to spend the money to get a good 1911, go ahead. But as your starter, you might as well just cheap out. I mean, there are some fit and finish issues, like you can see on the trigger here. You know, it slides. It's not precisionally machined, perfect for the gun. Like I said, there's sharp edges, mushy grip safeties. It had an ambidextrous safety and it fell off. It's actually on the table somewhere. So it's just holding, you know, it's holding the grip safety with only one side in it. Works fine. It's got that type of bushing on it. Don't know what you call it. I think it's a full-length guy rod is what people call it. You can see that's what it looks like with it extend it, and like I said, it's a really good firearm. Pros, it's cheap, it looks cool out of the box, cheap and good looking. Yeah, that's definitely a pro. I definitely would consider that. Con, you need prep work, and the magazines are terrible. Please do yourself a favor and get better magazines for this thing. They're terrible. I'm pretty sure I threw them out or I lost them. I want to say throw them out because that sounds better. So for the time being, I can't really shoot this anytime soon. I will be getting more magazines for it. But, you know, whatever. It's a cheap firearm. If you happen to blow it up, who cares? It's, you know, whatever. The sad part is you can't get these in the States anymore. The United States banned, I think, all importations of the Norinco line of firearms. So if you're Canadian, you can still get these very easily, very cheaply. If you're an American, you kind of have to deal with what's in circulation right now in the States. But definitely a really fabulous purchase. I'm just gonna kind of show you what's in the case right now. Basically, you had the firearm in here, extra magazine here, and then your clean brush and rod, which I haven't used yet, and I doubt I ever will. The firearm actually needs cleaned anyway, so I might do a video on that, not 100% sure. But, you know, if you do consider this firearm, this is really weird. In Canada, depending on which retailer has what, they all have different models. I know the SFRC where I bought this from only had the enhanced and then the short-barreled version and a few others. Canada Ammo had the same kind of deal, but it was a two-tone and I didn't really like the look of that. Marstar has probably the best selection, but I've heard to never ever give your money to Marstar because apparently they're really terrible to deal with, even though they have the best selection of Norinco 1911s, which is sad. There's probably other companies, I think even Wolverine Supplies has some that were actually, you know, good looking and all that. So it depends where you want to look around in Canada for this, but I got mine from SFRC. They've been great people to deal with. The shipping was kind of slow because I think I ordered it where the week was a holiday, and then friggin' like it took like way longer than it should have. But no big deal. I enjoy the firearm. I probably don't have any pictures of paper targets that I've shot with it, but you'll definitely see random clips of me or friends shooting it. If you really want to get into the 45 ACP series of handguns, the Norinco is really nice to look at. If you really want to spend the extra, I'd probably get a Smith & Wesson M&P and be really happy with that. But if you really just have to get a 1911, go ahead, get a Norinco. You'll be impressed as long as you do the prep work on it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't shit on my doorstep.